All right. Thank you guys so much for coming. My name is Taylor with Scott Leroy Marketing, and today we're going over the direct mailers in campaigns. Feel free as we go to throw any questions you have in the chat. I'm going to do my best to watch that and answer any questions as we go along. If I pause randomly, also just know I'm probably still letting someone in from the waiting room. So bear with me. I'm also going to put our email address in the chat for you. So if you want to take it down, that way you can email us any questions you have. If I miss a question, if we don't have time at the end of class to revisit what I might have missed, you can always email us and we'll be happy to either troubleshoot your system if you think something's going a little wonky, or send you any resources if there's anything that you want more information on. All right, so first thing is we're going to log into command. So going to agent.kw.com. And then once you sign in, we're actually going to start by editing our marketing profile, just making sure that everything's up to date. So in the upper right-hand corner where your name is, if you click that menu down, we're going to go into settings. And then on the left-hand side under connect settings is where you'll find your marketing profile. This is the section where your information will pull to different areas of the platform. And while we create the direct mailer postcards, you'll actually see there will be a section where your information does pull. So we just like to make sure that that's as up to date as possible. So you have a spot for your headshot and your team logo. We do recommend having something here. Even if you're not on a team, you'll notice I have the generic KW logo. I've also seen agents put maybe the realtor logo. Or if you have your own branded logo, you can put that here as well. And then you have your details, your slogan, any designations that you have, affiliations. Make sure that our contact info is up to date. And then we have brokerage specific information. So you have your DBA logos and then your office name, address, and license number. And if you're not sure which logos to put here, there are different versions of your branded logo or the generic KW logos. So if you go to My KW, My KW, in the top menu, there's a marketing tab. You can click on that. And then within Connect, there is logos and branding. Within this section, if you scroll down, you can search for your market center specific logos, either by name or market center number. And if you download the file, it's going to give you, let's see if I can pull it up really quick. A file here with different transparencies. So you have different color schemes, some black and white, some transparent background, some with red and white text, some with red and gray text, all those kind of options. And then if you scroll down a little more, you'll have the generic KW logos of different kinds where you can download them. And then we have our compliance pieces. So legal footer. Typically we'll have each office is independently owned and operated because we know as a KW agent that should be part of your legal footer on all of your marketing. If you're in a state that requires other text, you can add that here. Or if you have a link that you need, so you can enter the text that you need it to say, and then the link to that. So it'll be hyperlinked on all of your marketing material. And then there is a spot here for your social pages. This is more relevant for your website, but since we're in here, we're just touching on it. And we'll save all of our updates. And now we're gonna go to actually start making the mailers. So we're gonna go to the campaign section. I'm gonna click on the red KW in the upper left-hand corner. That will actually pop out the menu, so you don't have to hover over each icon to figure out which one you're trying to go to if you're not familiar with them yet. Alrighty. So once you're here, we're gonna focus on direct mail today. This is your campaigns dashboard. So here you have paid ads, emails, direct mail, or social post. We're just focusing on direct mail today. We do have other classes throughout the month or previous class recordings on our YouTube channel. So if you want more details about these sections, just send us an email and we'll be happy to send over the link for whichever one you're looking for. Or if you want to go to our YouTube channel, you just go to YouTube, search Scott Leroy Marketing, and our whole channel will come up where you can see our recent uploads. There's different playlists. You can also search by topic. And then you can find previous classes or any quick tip videos. So under direct mail, this is our mailer dashboard. So you'll be able to see how many campaigns you've created within a certain time frame, how many recipients there have been based on whatever's here. Mine's a little blank. There's a question in the chat. Will this class be posted later to rewatch? Yes, we do our best to upload by the end of the day after the video is done being processed from being recorded. But it's not always same day. It just depends on processing time. So bear with us, but you can always check out last month's recording if you want, if you don't want to wait for this one to be uploaded. So we have recipients here, how many leads came from these mailers, and how much money you've spent on sending them out. So we're going to create a campaign. It's in the upper right-hand corner. And we're going to stick to direct mail today. There's kind of always this error message right here that talks about Google search ads. That is pretty much always been the case. There was a brief time where Google search ads was able to be done in campaigns in the paid ad section, but it didn't really work. So KW kind of took that away and is working on it on the back end. So you'll always see this message. You'll see it on this one as well. Technical difficulties with Google search ads. We do get agents asking about that often. Just know that unless you're trying to create a Google search ad, it's not going to affect anything else within Command. You can do normal paid ads on different social media platforms, that kind of stuff. So don't let that message throw you off. So going into direct mail, and we're going to name it. So I would like to name this, we're going to create one based off of a property. So I'm going to label it based on that. And I'm going to advertise this listing. So we're going to select the goal. That's just going to change kind of which information it asks for in the template on the next screen. And then we're going to create campaign. That's going to bring us into our campaign editor. And the first thing, since we selected a listing specific goal, it's going to ask us to find the listing information. So you'll notice it defaults to active and only my listings. So if you're advertising a listing and you are the primary listing agent, it should sync here and display. However, I'm going to stick to active, I think, but I'm going to go all listings because I'm advertising someone else's. And then you can search here by property address. We found that it's actually easier to change this and search by MLS number. It's just going to be more exact. You have less overlap throughout the system with MLS numbers, where from what we've seen, the property address is going to search for each little section of the address. So it's going to search for all house numbers with, regardless of which street they're on. They're going to search for all addresses with this street name, regardless of house number or state that it's in. So it's going to be more specific. Oops. That's our email address. Let's see. Search there. All statuses. There we go. Once we have the listing, we're going to select. And then that's going to pull in most of the information from the MLS. And now we're going to select our content. So our goal is to get these check marks on each section. Otherwise, it's not going to process. It's going to be incomplete. For the sake of class, we're going to stick to the templates within the builder here. You can upload a custom design. So if you create a design or create a postcard in designs under the print material, you can upload those here. But these, depending on the size you're going with, these have to match exactly. We do have a separate video, we do have a different video that goes over how to help format those for custom pieces, but it's going to depend on your design and how much, what the sizes are and that kind of thing. And it's going to be more tailored, I guess, for what you're working with than to do it in class setting right now. So if you are looking to use custom designs for your postcard, but sending them out through real mailers like this, again, reach out to us and we can send over the video that walks you through slower how to help make sure that the sizing is correct on there. So if we select a template, you'll notice that there are sizes on the right-hand side of the drop-down. So if we want a 4x6, we can look at the front and the back and see what that looks like. But as we select a different template, the look is going to change slightly. And it'll be more apparent once we actually put photos and stuff in here. So we'll switch back and forth a little bit as well when we do that. But it just changes a little bit. And then scrolling down, you'll see the listing address was pulled in. Price was pulled in. And sometimes we've seen where this doesn't necessarily pull accurately in regards to like half baths. So double check bedrooms and mostly the bathrooms. But that section, it looks like based on our MLS remarks, it does match. But sometimes depending on how it's entered, it might not register correctly. It's also dependent on which MLS you're using from what we've seen. So just double check that. And then listing status, you have these options of just listed, just sold, or coming soon. So I'm going to select one. And you'll notice that threw it onto our template so we can preview it on the right-hand side. And then the description is pulling from the MLS as well. The only thing you'll want to notice is the character limit. We selected the largest size. So it has the highest character limit, making sure that we don't go over. But if we picked the smallest one, it would cut off the information. So we are over our character limit. So we'd want to make sure if this is the size we want, that we tailor this to say what we want and not be cut off. And then listing photos. So if this is truly your listing and you have the folder of original photos, we recommend just adding it manually instead of using the listing images. Notice all of these warnings for low resolution. It's going from being uploaded in the MLS to the KWLS and then into the mailer. So with each of those, we've seen that it loses some resolution. So this is just warning you that it's not the recommended size. I'm going to select it anyway, but again, if you have the ability to upload the original image, that's gonna be better quality. Once we select the image, we'll be able to preview it again. And now you'll see on the front page the difference in layout. And how it looks. So it's up to you based on size or the way it looks, depending on what you're using. We've selected our photo, and then this is our information. So it's pulling photo, first and last name, email, and phone number from the marketing profile, which we updated at the beginning. And then save. Oh, it looks like it doesn't like. Pulled in funny. All right, so This is just a warning because I selected that low resolution image, that they're warning you that it's not the recommended size. So if it comes out blurry, it's not their fault because they're giving you this warning. So I'm going to use it anyway. And then Market Center is also pulling from the marketing profile. So we have our DBA logo. We have the office name and most of the address. We've noticed that it never pulls in the state or zip code. And as far as we can tell, it's because in the marketing profile, city, state, and zip code is one line. So it's only pulling in part of it. So you'll just want to make sure to enter that information for your office. It'll verify, you confirm. There we go. So now we have most of our check marks. We still want to double check targeting and budget because it defaults. So targeting, if we drop that down, you have two different options, either local targeting, so based on an address that we're using. So I want to target for this one around my listing. But you can also target your database. So if you have maybe a client event and you want to invite via postcard, you can send that out to your database for anyone who has a address on file. So I'm going to stick to local targeting, and it already pulled in the address of the listing. We're going to save that. And then budget. Here you can select either how many you want to send, or if you're looking at the estimated price, you can change that number. And depending on the template that you select, you may have different postage options. And then once you have however many you want, you can save that. This can also be adjusted on the next screen though, so it just depends. So now looking at our completed template, this is what it looks like on the front. We have our photo, the listing status and address. And then on the back, you have the address, the price that it was offered at. And then we have our MLS remarks, details about the property, and then agent information is over here. And then this is going to, it's going to say current resident. We haven't seen when you're choosing a local target that it updates the name. However, if you were to send this to your database, it would replace that with the name on the contact card and their address. You also have the ability to add a QR code directly into here. So if you toggle on tracking right here, and then a new section drops down so that you can select a landing page. So any of your pages from your website should show up here. So if you just want to send them to your homepage, you can do that. If you created a landing page specific for this property with more information, you can select that from here. I'm going to select just the contact page on my website, but then that, once you select it, it automatically puts a QR code onto your postcard. So if a client wants more information, they can scan this. I say a client. If you send this postcard and a neighbor of this listing wants more information or wants to see whatever it is, contact you for more details, they can just scan that to go to this page and depending on how it's set up, either enter their information so that I can contact them, or if you have a listing landing page with more information, however that's set up on your website. And then here, once you're satisfied with how it looks and what's going to go out, you can either save draft and come back to it, or you can configure targeting, and that's going to take us into the next screen where you can actually try to target who receives these to better suit you. It does take a while to load. Uh-oh. Oh no, guys. I know KW was working on updating the system the last couple days. Oh, we got to resave our address. Make sure we have that check mark. Configure targeting, low resolution warning. Oh no, guys. Looks like there's a glitch. I hadn't gotten to test this part of the system. Well, if you want more details, reach out to us. We'll try a little later in class. We'll make another one really quick and see. We'll do the target your database example as well. And maybe by then we'll be able to access configure targeting. Otherwise, I might even just pull up our previous class and talk you through that part of it, since we can't see it right now. And it might just be my system. So if you guys are able to go through that and I'm not, I'm sorry. But I do know last class I was able to walk through that. So we can have send you that recording if you need it. So we're going to create another campaign, direct mail. And let's say we're going to do a client event. I'm going to name it, and I'm going to do event awareness. Create the campaign. Content, again, just selecting which size we want. All right. And then as you type in these text boxes, you'll see it pop up somewhere on your template on the right-hand side. What do we want this to say? I don't know. And depending on how much, let's see. I'm not sure what's happening, so let's try a different template. And then our description. You could even do this for an open house if you wanted to. Send this maybe out to the neighborhood like we did on the last one with configure targeting, but then maybe have an event that you're inviting them to. don't even know. And see where that adds. There we go. Pretend that that has all of the photos we want. All right, so here it's going to want us to upload an image. Let's see. I am just going to use our logo. I don't really have any photos saved for an event. Okay, so I might not. We're going to pretend that this actually looks good. Okay, guys, we're just. Then we have our contact information again. The photo's still not the recommended size. You know what, let's just find a photo. See, this looks like a free image. Go back to content. Add our image there. That looks a little better. Less distracting. All right. And then again, market center information for marketing, just got to add. Verify the address. Then for targeting, you could invite, let's say you wanted to invite the neighbors surrounding your office or wherever the address is of your party. You can enter that here for local targeting as well. But for this example, we're going to target my database. And then once you select that, you'll have this new drop down for adding contacts. So it'll pull up all of your contacts, but you'll have this little warning if their address is not complete in your database. So they're not available to send this to. So you don't have to worry about paying for a postcard to go to an address that doesn't even exist. So if you see more of those than you think there should be, we'd recommend checking your database for those people, maybe opening it in a different tab and making those edits. You can also filter. So if you wanted to filter by a specific tag, maybe as people buy or sell with you, you tag them as past client or buyer or something. You can select that as well. And once you select the tag, all of the contacts with that tag will be visible. You can then select all, depending on how many. So I don't have a good database to give you an example of, but if you have a lot of contacts, I think this loads 100 at a time, I want to say. So if you have more than that, you'll want to scroll all the way down, hit load more, and do that until all are available. And then you can select all, and all that have the valid address will be selected. And then you can add to campaign. And then for your budget, your quantity can't really be adjusted because you've selected who it's going to. I mean, you can, but I'm not sure. You'll order extra that just gets sent to you. And then again, depending on how many, or sorry, which template you chose, you can have different postage class. And then maybe for this one, for tracking, maybe you created a landing page with an RSVP. So you have more information about your party. And on there is a contact us form that asks for people to let you know that they're coming. And then maybe just to add to it. There you go. We're going to save that again. So now we have all of our check marks and all of the information. The next thing, since we don't have to configure the targeting, we've already selected who they're going to and the addresses. You can then preview and make payment. And normally this loads quicker, but I'm just hoping we don't get an error and get booted out. But this will give you a preview of your postcard that is going to go out. And then you have your order summary. And then if you don't have payment information saved, you can input that here. You can also schedule this to go out at a later date. All right, well. And then you would also normally see a preview here. Let's say that we had just sent this out and it started processing. This will, instead of draft, it'll say processing. And after it's done, you'll see this information start to appear. So you'll have date sent. And then as people receive them, you'll basically have a count here. And then if anyone scans that QR code and inputs their information as a lead, you'll have that information populate here for the specific campaign, as well as up top for all of them. Let's see if we can go back through here. I'm really hopeful, guys. Okay, save our market center again. We have our check marks, configure targeting. Yay! All right, so back to the first mailer we created. When you're targeting a local property or a local address, you'll see this map appear. So this is, oops, So this is the neighborhood. This is the property that we typed in. So this is the listing we have selected. And it pulled over from the previous screen the 100 postcards that we wanted to send out based on our budget. So each of these dots represents one of these 100 homes that will receive a postcard. You can then start narrowing down what types of properties this goes to. So maybe you have I can't even think of an example, guys. Maybe you have a very specific market, or your home that you're listing is very specific. And so you want to start filtering as you change these criteria, I guess. You'll notice the dots changed where they're at. And that's based on how they are. Oh my gosh, guys, words are hard today. What kinds of properties they are. So I just switched from all properties to multifamilies, and it went from this little tiny area by the home to way spread out, but it's still 100. And then just trying to narrow this down. So this is all going to be based on your market and what is going on. If you even want to narrow down any of the targeting, it's entirely up to you. But the idea behind targeting your recipients is to have the more likelihood of leads coming in. And then we always recommend sending a copy to the market center for you, so you actually can see what was physically sent out rather than just the digital copy. The other thing I want to show you guys, we're going to zoom out a little bit. Let's say you are listing this property and we're targeting it, but you're also listing this property and you don't want them to receive a postcard for that property. You can remove them from this. They'll still have a dot, but it'll be gray to signify that they meet the requirements, but they're not going to receive it. They've been removed from the list. If you do it on accident, you can also restore it. But even when we do that, our number doesn't change, and the system will find the next closest property that matches this criteria. You'll also notice some properties don't have dots at all, even though I haven't done any filtering. I left it all properties and all of these, nothing has changed. People can be on basically a don't send me spam list, kind of like they're on a do not call list. So if they're on that list, there's no way that you can use the system to send them a postcard. That way you don't get in trouble if they're on the list. So the other thing that I like to tell people, you can look at these property addresses and the number of bedrooms, their square feet, and the year built. There's not a way for you to export this data and get your list if you're doing this. we haven't seen that that's a thing that you can get, especially with like people's names. Like we get questions all the time like, hey, I sent out mailers, how can I get a list of all of the houses that I sent them to? Well, you can't. I don't necessarily have a reason why. I just know that there is nothing in the system that allows you to pull that data. All right, and then here, once you are done and you're satisfied with who's going to get them, if you go next, oh, our previews are here. Then you'll be taken to that same screen where you can look at your preview, your order, and your payment. There's one more section that I want to highlight, even though it's campaigns specific, not direct mail specific. But if you don't want to upload your card every time when you go to create a direct mail, or really any of these campaigns that may cost money, like a paid ad, you can input your payment information here. You can add payment method, have your card on file. So you just select it when you create one of these. That way you don't have to enter it every time. And then you can export your data. So as you start to accumulate payments, you make Google, wow, I say words as I read them. As you create campaigns that may cost money, depending on that, you can export your data if you're trying to go through it and see like, where am I spending money that might not be well spent? Or can I switch how much of my budget is going to a different section because I get more return on it? Or maybe you need a breakdown for tax purposes. Whatever it is, you can just export as a CSV, and all of this data will go into a spreadsheet for you. So you can do with that whatever you need. And I think that's pretty nifty. All right, guys, I know I went through both of those kind of quickly, and we had some errors that made us kind of jump back and forth. So I hope I didn't cause too much confusion. I am going to give you guys back about 7 minutes of your day. And yeah, I've been watching the chat. I think I answered all the questions as we went. Again, guys, I'm going to put our email address in the chat for you so that you can take it down. If you have questions, email us. If I confused you having to jump back and forth, let us know. We can get you a recording from a previous class that's more fluid, straight through. And yeah, we'll be happy to answer any questions. Yeah. Sorry, I'm all over the place today, guys. I think I've had a little too much coffee. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday and a great weekend.